Hi. So we've got Erin back in the studio.
As always, happy to be here.
Thank you for stepping in and helping us out.
Listen, if you think that you could mention not only The Simpsons, but an OG episode of CSI and me not come back immediately, you were sorely mistaken.
We summoned you like Beetlejuice.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Okay, well, this week I'm doing the story, and I already told you what it was, but so no surprise there. But it's a little different this week. We've gone back to ghosts. We've left the true crime behind.
Yes.
For the most part, there is a murder later, but
crime leads to ghosts.
yeah, exactly. But this is actually a haunted neighborhood.
Ooh.
City, town. I don't know what I want to call it.
Just a whole area.
An area of 301 acres, to be exact. Whatever we want to call that. Either a large neighborhood or a small town.
I vote town.
Okay. A township?
Yes. It's my professional opinion.
A professional is probably going to yell at me because I'm sure there is an actual title for this, but oh well. Okay, without further ado, I have been watching the people who are, this sounds so wrong, the people who are listening to us.
Mm-hmm.
We upload our podcast with an RSS feed, and so I don't get to see a lot of specifics, and we actually don't really get to see comments that people leave unless we go ourselves to like I have to go on the Spotify myself to see if somebody comments on an episode.
You don't just get a notification.
Yeah. Speaking of, big old apology to everybody who listened to our last episode. For the first 5 days that it was up, there was an audio mixing error. Gravest apologies for that. I'm very embarrassed. From what I can tell happened was, if you listen to it now, I start the episode by saying, "Guess who's back?" And then Caroline joins me singing "Back Again."
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's some kind of AI editing thing that after I had completely finished editing the episode, when I hit save, it decided, even though our audio channels started at the same time, because Caroline's technically had 5 seconds of silence in front of it, it decided to cut that silence so that our speaking started at the same time. So we were about 5 seconds out of sync for the first 18 minutes of the episode.
And now we're going to pivot and talk about why AI is bad. That's the new theme of the episode.
It sounded so bad.
And I would have told you immediately, but I had gotten a little spoiler alert that the episode involved someone hiding in an attic, which is one of my top fears. So I was afraid to listen.
Yeah, and I don't blame you for that. But Cap did comment on Spotify and was like, "Hey, there's an audio error here." And I didn't see it for 5 days until I was like, I'm going to go look at this. So thanks for the effort, Cap. But we did get it fixed. And I'm mostly just embarrassed because we had, I don't know, people in Colorado, I don't know if you just log in on the internet and just Google Colorado and find things to look up. But we had I think 30 people in Colorado in the first week.
Love that.
Who, I don't know where they came from. They weren't there before, but
they came from Colorado.
Okay, yeah. I don't know how they found us. I'll say that.
I mean, they probably do just have a Google alert set up for Colorado.
Yeah, I mean,
that would be annoying.
If you're still here, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you listened to it in the first 5 days and haven't listened to it since, maybe give it another listen, because I promise it's going to sound a lot better and make more sense.
Yes.
Now. So just wanted to throw out a little apology about last episode in there. But all this to say, so I watch our little RSS feed and I can see how many people listen to an episode. And I can't see actual user data. So it could be the same people every time. It could be different people all the time. But I can see, if they're in the US, I can see what state they're in or what country around the world.
Which is cool.
It is. I love watching it.
Yeah.
I'm watching it every, refreshing just to see, if one person pops up. 'Cause
yeah.
We're not popular yet, but it's fun.
But it's also what are you doing here? Finland or whatever.
No, okay. Literally, let me pull it up right now. Hang on, because I need to actually like look this up, because I don't know if you have a VPN, I don't know if that would affect it. Where like, let's say I'm here in Kentucky, I have a VPN, I listen, it says I'm in like Zimbabwe or whatever.
I think it can, because I think there's a thing for like with some of the streaming services, people get around things using a VPN. I don't understand it.
Yeah. So I don't know, but something to look into. But in the last week, we've had people from around the world. Like I had a friend in France who listened to a few. Somebody I think in Hong Kong listened to a few. But in the last week, we've had 5 listens in Vietnam, 2 in Argentina, and then 1 each in Bolivia, the UK, Iraq, Mexico, Pakistan, and Uruguay.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
I mean, I'd like to take credit for Argentina.
Yeah, for sure. That was 2 listens, so that has to be real, right? That's not just a random VPN bouncing somebody there.
I wouldn't think so. And I mean, it's just so interesting because you can pinpoint some. Like if, we saw one in New York, like we know that's probably Maggie.
Yeah.
But I don't know anybody in Vietnam.
Nope.
That I know of.
Which is why I brought this up, because I can't see user data, so I don't know who's repeats and who's normal people or regular people.
Yeah.
But we have, since the beginning, had a consistent amount of like, I'd guess maybe like 5-10 people, somewhere in there, in Virginia. And so I wanted to shout out any of these Virginia people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I decided to pick a topic today in Virginia.
Nice.
Which is also fun because Lore Drop, that's where I was born and lived briefly. So I did not pick where I was born, but it's still fun because in elementary school, I did go here for a field trip.
Nice.
So without further ado, even though that was a lot of ado.
No further ado.
8 minutes of ado.
Yeah.
We are covering Colonial Williamsburg.
Home of all the ye old shops.
Yep. In fact, we went to Williamsburg and to Jamestown, but I think Williamsburg is where I bought a little like chalkboard slate.
Probably.
From a ye old shop.
Mm-hmm. Shop with an E, I hope. A shoppy.
2 P's in it.
Yes. The only way to spell it.
I also want to say that listen, it's no secret that I love history.
This is brand new information to me.
I feel like I've made that pretty clear. Now, I kind of shot myself in the foot here because when it comes to America, there's not many places other than Colonial Virginia that has more history that you can really dig into.
It's up there.
And then not only did I not pick like one specific building or person, I picked a whole neighborhood where a lot of stuff happened. So I went down a lot of rabbit holes, took up a lot of time, kept trying to pull myself back and just get like the basics for context and stuff. But I still have like a full page just of history. So I hope I hit the balance of this is good basic information for Colonial Williamsburg that's interesting, but isn't just like, this is not relevant at all.
If it's not relevant, I can tell you afterwards.
Okay, thank you.
For your continuous improvement efforts.
I thought you were going to say so I could cut it.
Or that. I don't want to mess with your process.
Okay, so Williamsburg, Virginia was founded in 1699 in what at the time was actually Middle Plantation, which was a fortified settlement at higher ground between James and York rivers. Because it was further inland than Jamestown, which at the time was the like acting capital.
Yeah.
But during Bacon's Rebellion, the States House was burned down. So then they were like, we're going to build a little temporary place over here in higher ground where it's safer. And then we'll go back to Jamestown. And then the building got burned down again. And they were like, okay, well, we'll just go back to where we were.
That was happening all the time back then.
So many buildings burned down in this story. Okay, so Williamsburg became the capital of both the colony and the Commonwealth of Virginia from 1699 to 1780.
That's a pretty good run.
Yeah. It is the home of the College of William and Mary.
Yes.
Which was established in 1693, making it the second oldest institution of higher learning in the United States, second only to Harvard.
Of course.
Some notable alumni of William and Mary, just throwing some fun facts. 4 presidents, George Washington, John Tyler, James Monroe, and Thomas Jefferson.
Oh, wow.
We've got Glenn Close of 101 Dalmatians fame.
I mean, also other things for those of us older than you, but yes.
John Stewart.
Love John Stewart.
Patton Oswalt.
Oh. If you get some listens in California after this, we're going to know, like, it's probably Patton Oswalt. Patton, thank you for joining. We're so glad you could be here.
I'm just going to read some random ones here because I don't recognize a lot of the names. Joe Plumeri, Rob Estes, Walt Hickey.
Great last name.
Jen Psaki, I don't know, former White House press secretary. Yeah. Ooh, Ted Decker, chair, president, and CEO of Home Depot.
Oh, I was going to guess Black & Decker.
I wonder.
Maybe they both have orange. Is there a connection there? I don't know.
Oh, James Comey. Mike Tomlin. Henry Clay.
Hey, callback.
Anyway, so the point is, a lot of famous people, right?
It's been around for a while.
Yes.
It's kind of a big deal.
Yes. So the town was named after William III of England, who is also the William of William and Mary.
I almost asked, and then I was like, that's probably super obvious. And you're going to feel dumb if you ask. And I bet it's like England royalty.
Yeah, no, I'm confirming.
Okay.
William III of England and his wife, Anne. And it was originally planned for the streets to lay in the shape of William and Mary's monogram, which is a superimposed M and W.
That's an attention to detail that I'm absolutely here for.
Say what you want about our current geopolitical climate.
I have a lot I could say, but
at least we don't have to live under the divine right of kings.
Yet. But seriously though, like, it's now occurring to me, so they're going to lay this out in the monogram that no one could see.
Yeah.
They didn't have planes or drones or anything. It would just, you'd have to tell people, like, by the way, you can't tell.
Erin, you're not a city planner. It's all about vibes.
Then I have some words for some of the city planners in this general region because the vibes are off as fuck.
The vibes are rancid.
Yes.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter because that plan was scrapped. They were like, this actually doesn't work.
And we can't even see it, so what's the point?
And it was planned to have a grid layout.
Much more logical.
So a couple more fun facts about Williamsburg. This was random, but it was the site of the first canal project in the U.S.
Huh.
Yeah. Also, the Declaration of Independence was proclaimed at Williamsburg on July 25th, 1776, to great applause and the firing of cannons and small arms.
It was kind of a big deal.
Yeah, a little bit. Also, a lot of history there with the Stamp Act and the beginning of, the Revolutionary War, all of that.
Listen.
We don't need to get into all that. There's a lot.
I had the Felicity American Girl doll. I know all about it.
All right. So anybody who wants further research, go to AmericanGirlDoll.com.
Or come to my house and help me find my American Girl doll. She is MIA.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's very upsetting.
Rip. Okay, so like I said, in 1780, the capital moved to Richmond, which was a more central location. Thomas Jefferson wanted it there.
And what Thomas Jefferson wants, Thomas Jefferson gets.
Plus, it was more defensible from British attack.
Okay, yeah, that
it was
too.
Further inland.
Tom had a point.
Yeah. But when that happened, Williamsburg stagnated. Most of the residents of the city were either involved in William and Mary, or what is now the Eastern State Hospital, but originally was called the Public Hospital for Persons of Insane and Disordered Minds.
Rolls right off the tongue.
It was the first purpose-built psychiatric hospital in the U.S.
Oh, wow.
And it is still in operation as the Eastern State Hospital.
Wow.
It's moved locations a couple times. It's not in the same building.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah, it's this same hospital. Yeah.
And like same type of facility. Yep. Wow.
I could have gotten more into that, but because it's moved a bunch, it's not technically in Colonial Williamsburg.
Okay.
So I don't have any more on that.
Yeah.
But fun little bit of history.
Different episode. Stay tuned, Virginia.
Yeah. So one source said that the college was a makeshift hospital for the Battle of Yorktown in 1781, where almost 1,000 soldiers died from the injuries sustained.
Wow.
Not just were treated. That's just the amount that died. Yeah. So not much changed for about 100 years, with the original colonial era buildings being neglected, modernized, or modified. And in 1862, the town was captured by General George McClellan and garrisoned by the Union Army. So it remained safe and relatively unharmed by the standards of a city in the South during the Civil War.
Yeah, as best as they could hope for.
Some places still burned down. However, I say that with the exception of the Battle of Williamsburg, which was May 5th, 1862, there were roughly 4,000 casualties. That includes injuries, missing, death, all that. And at the end of the day, it was kind of just a wash. Neither side made any progress. It was just holding each other back until help kept coming.
I think that was not uncommon if my husband's watching of Ken Burns' Civil War on repeat has taught me anything.
But I will say, it was the first time that a Union Army captured a Confederate battle flag.
Nice.
Yeah. Then, in 1903, Reverend Dr. William Archer Rutherford Goodwin.
Fantastic.
W-A-R Goodwin. Good old
Nice.
war.
Goodwin.
Yeah. He's important, okay?
Okay.
He became rector of Bruton Parish Church. The parish was established in 1674 with the original brick building constructed between 1681 and 1683 as a combination of two parishes, and still remains an active Episcopal church to this day.
That's really cool.
It is the oldest continually operating church in the U.S.
I love getting to see old churches like that as someone who, in terms of where I went to church as a child, was like a, you know, your classic mega church, does not have all of that charm and character and
history,
amazing architecture. It's just, you know, like a big box. So it's always exciting to be like, wow, people, like, you go to church here, just regular church in this fantastic building.
Well, it definitely lends a whole other layer to the idea of religion.
Yeah.
This is something that my ancestors have done, and, you know, rather than just like, this is something we do now.
Yeah, exactly.
A very different feel.
Yeah.
So, so the original brick building, 1674. The current building was constructed between 1711 and 1715 when they needed a bigger building.
Good for them.
Now, when Goodwin arrived in 1903, he was enamored with this historic parish.
Of course.
And so he almost immediately decided that it needed to be restored. So he starts raising funds, going up and down the East Coast, doing his little networking stuff.
Absolutely.
And he succeeds. He raises the funds, and they, at the time, restore the nearly 200-year-old building. They started in 1905 on the interior, and it was completed in 1907 in time for the 300-year anniversary of the settlement of Jamestown and the establishment of the Episcopal Church in North America. It was a fun little anniversary.
Yeah, and it feels like a pretty decent turnaround time for a full restoration of a church back then.
Yeah, for sure. So only a year later, in 1908, he was called to serve in New York. But in 1923, he returned to Williamsburg to work as a religious studies professor and the fundraiser of William and Mary. So it's worth noting that his first wife and son were buried in Williamsburg, and he spent time vacationing and studying there while he was living in New York. Okay, so he really considered it his home.
Like his home, yeah.
So upon his return, he was disheartened by the neglect of the colonial era buildings. So, once again, he's like, I know what to do.
He's a hustler.
So he begins campaigning and building relationships with wealthy Virginians, especially those in the Association for the Preservation of Virginian Antiquities, which sounds like the kind of group that would have a bunch of stuffy, wealthy Virginian people. So he's doing this as a passion project, but also part of his job with William and Mary as the fundraiser. So he works with his colleagues, and the college saved the John Blair House from being demolished to build a gas station.
God.
And they converted it into a faculty club. And then in 1924, they launched a building drive to save houses in the historic district to become student and faculty housing. And eventually, he secured the support and financial commitments of John D. Rockefeller Jr.
I have heard of him, yes.
Yes. Basically, he bankrolls the remaining restoration of the entire city of Williamsburg.
And much of our national park system.
Yeah. So they spent 4 years quietly purchasing properties and anonymously hired a lawyer for title research and legal work. And then in 1928, they revealed their plans to the county residents in order to receive their consent and help, because the plans included a new high school and 2 parks. So the city kept ownership of the streets, but the project moved forward.
Okay.
Which created some hiccups where they tried to put in like toll systems and were like, we own this, you can't get your stuff through. It was a whole thing. But they did it. So the college's Wren building, Bradfordin House, and the President's House were restored, and a partial restoration of the town was started, including shops and taverns and a colonial-style market, which was mostly marketed to tourists.
Yes.
And then during the restoration, this is insane to me, 720 buildings built after 1790.
720?
720 buildings.
So many buildings.
In the town of Williamsburg that were post-colonial, so built after 1790, were demolished. They were like, get out of here. We don't need this new stuff.
No. That's not the vibe we're going for. We have a theme. Get out.
This also includes some buildings from the 18th century that were past the point of saving.
Yeah.
They were like, yeah, we need to take you down. So the Governor's Palace and the Capitol building, the original, they were reconstructed on top of their existing foundations, which happened with multiple buildings where it was like,
that makes sense.
we know where you were and we know what you looked like, but you just aren't here anymore.
Yeah.
So we're going to rebuild you.
Yeah. We'll make you better, stronger.
They built them as accurately as possible based on surviving illustrations, photographs, written records, and knowledge of period architecture. Overall, about 500 buildings were rebuilt or restored, 88 of which are considered original. Meaning that some part of the architecture, like is a wall or whatever, is original, colonial.
That feels like a pretty good amount, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure. Especially when you've started the project 200 years later with no attempts made in the middle to keep this stuff up.
Exactly.
I should also point out that this number includes smaller buildings like smokehouses and sheds.
Okay.
But it just means like structures. Not full houses.
Yeah. Fitting that number of houses in there would have been a bit much.
So Colonial Williamsburg was created to be a tourist destination and recreation of colonial life, which greatly pushed out local businesses and residents. The last to remain was a dress shop, which I thought was kind of cute. Surrounding the property, a conservation easement was established, which has saved much of the property from development, and even today, there's no commercial properties between the highway exit and the visitor center. It's a lot of canals and river and stuff.
Which feels like a really big accomplishment.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. You know, there's the preservation aspect and ecology and all that, but from the park standpoint, they put emphasis on it being because they want you to feel like when you get off the road, you're
like you're time traveling, you're transporting back.
Yeah.
Get you in the mindset of it.
They knew what they were doing.
And I appreciate that.
And then I did want to throw out, just while we're talking about the history, I found one source that said this. I didn't have time to dig anywhere else, and I didn't see it anywhere else. But one source said that in 1919, 5,000 victims of the Spanish flu were buried in Williamsburg, which feels like a lot.
The Spanish flu was like devastating.
But
it does sound pretty high.
I don't think there were that many people living there at the time.
Maybe they bust them in.
Yeah, I don't know.
Elsewhere.
So I wanted to mention that just in case it was true.
Yeah.
And if it is, then it certainly, there's so many records of different cemeteries and then people just being buried randomly all over town. So, you know, there could be Spanish flu victims for sure.
That's how it was in olden times.
5,000 just felt like a lot to me.
Yeah. I feel like they would have had to move some of the buildings.
So today it operates as a 301-acre living history museum owned by the Colonial Williamsburg Foundation, a nonprofit endowed by the Rockefeller family. Unlike other living museums, it's open to the public at all times, free of charge. It's a town you can just walk through.
Yeah.
The only admission fees are for those who wish to enter historic buildings for tours or to watch period arts and crafts demonstrations.
And I obviously would.
Sites include gardens, taverns, inns, homes, and workshops. And this is a quote from Wikipedia. This includes a printing shop, a shoemaker, a blacksmith, a cooperage, a cabinet maker, a gunsmith, a wig maker, and a silversmith.
Nice.
So you can just go see how they made literally everything back then.
We've not been to Colonial Williamsburg. We actually stayed right there, but it was towards the end of a trip. And it was like, I'm too exhausted to even go
fair.
one more place. But when we were at the Shelburne Museum in Vermont, we got to see like period correct blacksmith and printmaking. And it's so interesting.
When I was little, I wanted to be a reenactor and live in a working.
As did I.
Yeah, for sure.
Because your girl loves a costume.
Love a costume, and we all know I love history. Listen, I don't need the internet. Not if I get to make shit all day.
And I mean, honestly, doesn't
Get
that
paid for it.
sound amazing?
Like a breath of fresh air.
Oh my God.
Especially because I don't know about Williamsburg, but like depending on the museum, some of them are seasonal, so you can just take the summer and go live on a farm and make cheese and talk to people about the olden days.
Spin wool into yarn or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm down.
It would just be nice to do for a summer, just to reset.
Do you think my job would be like down with that, or would they be like, I'm
gonna
sorry,
talk to my boss.
Yeah, we kind of need you at that time.
Don't worry about it. Okay. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, so reenactors live and reside in the town, dressing and living as though they exist in colonial times and interacting with guests. Attendance peaked in 1985 at 1.1 million visitors.
Fantastic year.
And hit its lowest point in 2004, but has continued to climb since then. As of 2022, it's the largest tourist attraction in Virginia.
So, like, even during the pandemic, you think was better than 2004?
I didn't actually see anything about the pandemic.
Those might be like, we don't count those years.
Yeah.
I was just kind of curious.
But, I mean, a substantial part of it is outdoors, so.
True.
So I would be remiss not to mention that the foundation has faced controversy over the decades, including on historical accuracy versus idealism. The modernization of buildings. Over the years, the homes have been updated. Now, some of this was done by the foundation. Some was done from the people who lived there before the foundation acquired the homes.
Yeah.
They were updated with electricity, indoor plumbing, heating and cooling, and refrigerators.
I support literally all of those.
Yeah. Also, up to a point, it becomes a safety aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you've got people actually living there, not just showing up 9 to 5 in order to pretend to live in the olden times,
Yeah, you're expecting a hell of a lot from me if you think for my job I'm going to use an outhouse. Again, sorely
Full-time.
mistaken.
Yeah, no.
Sorely mistaken.
Yeah. There's also a long history of how to properly handle an accurate but meaningful truth to the existence of black slaves and freemen in colonial America. Keep in mind, this park was open during segregation. So they kind of half followed segregation during its implementation. So they had obviously white and black actors. And the dorms they stayed in were segregated. But then it was like a weird thing with who they would let into the park and to different shows and which buildings. And at the time, it was the law where technically black and white people couldn't eat in the same spaces.
Jesus
so then
Christ.
It was like, who can we serve food to? Who eats outdoors, indoors? It was like a weird,
See, hate is a pain in the ass.
Literally, it makes everything harder for everybody.
How much extra work did you have to do back then just to...
And for what?
Exactly. Oh no, I can't eat next to this person. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Get over yourself.
So that's the whole thing. But there have been several instances over the years of programs involving slaves, slave marriages, and auction reenactments. So it's been a fine line of trying to share the harsh realities of what life was like and what these people endured while not making like an entertaining spectacle out of it, and maintaining respect both to your actors and the people that they are portraying.
Yeah. And I mean, just like anything of that nature, nobody is going to hit the mark 100% of the time on that, because you
can't satisfy everybody.
Yeah. It is such a sensitive but very important topic. it needs to be shared, needs to be remembered, but you got to do it the right way. And I think we just kind of all have to work together to figure out what that right way is.
And some people are going to be made uncomfortable by the same things that other people say need to be shared. So it's just a hard line to walk.
Yep.
But I needed to mention that.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I have 4 buildings that I have specific ghost stories and experiences from. Because keep in mind, there's 88 original and 500 buildings, and there could be a lot. We'd be here all day.
Possibly a bunch of Spanish flu people.
Yeah, listen.
Possibilities are endless.
And I found so many websites of ghost tour people. So if you want to go to Williamsburg and you want to have a ghost tour,
you're in luck.
Big old shout out to Colonial Ghosts, U.S. Ghost Adventures, and Williamsburg Ghost Tours, because their websites were helpful and looks like they know what they're talking about. So I would recommend them for a tour.
We'll do some research and circle back if needed.
So I only picked 4, but the first one I have already mentioned, the Bruton Parish Church. Okay. So it was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1970. There are 2 ghost stories. So first off, the very first reverend of Bruton Parish Church was Reverend Roland Jones, who lived from 1644 to 1688. He became reverend when the church was established in 1674, the same year that he married his first wife, Elizabeth Buckner. Rumor and history overlap here a little bit, but I found some genealogy records and stuff. And the historic records state that they had at least 2 children together before her death on October 29th, 1678, allegedly during childbirth, but I couldn't find an actual record of like how she died.
That was going to be my guess.
Yeah. The legend has it that it was, tragic. She died in childbirth with their first child.
Yeah.
But no, they had at least 2 kids already. So, legend has it that while she lay dying, he told her that he would always love her and asked for her to wait for him so that they could reunite in heaven. Okay. And he had her buried in the church cemetery. And then 3 months later, in January of 1679, he left to retrieve a tombstone that he had made for her grave. Parish members saw Elizabeth wandering around the church and cemetery and sitting in pews as though waiting. She looked completely real and ordinary, except for the fact that they all knew that she had just died and been buried.
Yep.
Until Jones returned with the tombstone and his newest wife.
Shut the fuck up.
Anne Lane, whom he married in 1679 and eventually had 2 more children with.
While picking up his first wife's tombstone.
Yeah.
Okay. I have
She's been dead for 3 months.
I have a lot of thoughts, and not, if the legend is accurate, not like prolonged illness. We know that she's going to die. It was very sudden.
Yeah.
So,
and he has at least 2 little boys at home who are under the age of 4.
Like,
some men just can't be on their own.
He
needed somebody to help him raise those boys.
Jesus Christ. But, like, do you think did he set out on his tombstone errand? Like, well, while I'm out, I might as well pick up a wife.
He may dip on down to the store.
Did he already know this person? What, like, maybe that was a thing back then. Like, well, I'll just hang out at the tombstone store.
Unfortunately, I don't have any details on that, on how they met.
Because when you first said 3 months, I was like, oh my God, do not tell me he got married after 3 months. And then you talked about the tombstone. And I was like, okay, I have a little bit of time. And then you tricked me.
Gotcha.
Oh my God. Anyway.
Oh, it gets worse, by the way.
Oh, great. Cool.
So they had 2 kids, okay. But Elizabeth was still seen wandering the grounds, but now wailing in anguish. And he was eventually buried with Anne's plot between his and Elizabeth's.
What?
Yeah. He didn't put himself in the middle. He put his second wife in the middle.
Stop.
Yeah.
You're not even like...
Yeah. So today, churchgoers still hear her cries echoing around the property, and there are also reports of disembodied organ music playing.
Frankly, I think you should hear cries from both women. Like,
yeah,
they were both
one
done.
One at
a
least
little
got
dirty.
to leave a full life.
Yeah, but then got buried in between her husband and his first wife.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah. What's she gonna do?
I'm a whale is what I'm gonna do.
Okay. The next story comes from Charles, a former security guard of Colonial Williamsburg.
Mm-hmm.
And he described an experience that he himself had.
Ooh.
Where, so there's like an alley right next to the church where the cemetery is fenced in.
Mm-hmm.
He would sit on his patrol at a section where he could see down the alley, and it was really well lit. He made a point of saying that, you know, there's a street light there where you can see the height, the gender, the clothes, and the colors of everybody that walks by. Mm-hmm. It's very well lit. And one night, and this is modern day. This interview was in 2014.
Okay.
So he's sitting there looking down the street, and he described it as construction paper black, where it was just the outline of a person, just a silhouette, mm-hmm. like a shadow figure. Okay. But I just thought construction paper black was so creepy.
It's a specific phrase.
Where he sees the outline of a man walk down the street. He had a ponytail. Mm-hmm. In full colonial garb, vest, tucked in pants, you know, all of that. Fully
little breeches.
He could see all the details. Yeah. There was just no color. And he walked down, and there was a section of the wall where there's a tree where apparently people would like sneak to the tree and climb it and then go into the cemetery that way. And when they got to the tree, he would lose sight of them until they like came out the other side. Okay. So he's sitting watching this figure come towards him, and he even said he was like probably like 5'10". Like he had full view of this.
Specific.
Yeah. And so he watches him come down the street. He gets to the tree and disappears, and he doesn't see him go by. So he's like, okay, maybe this person climbed a tree. I gotta go check. Mm-hmm. So he goes into the cemetery, doesn't see anybody, and he's like, I shouldn't be here by myself right now.
Certainly should not.
So he leaves, and he talks to his coworkers the next day, and he's telling this woman about it, and the first thing she asks him is, did he have a long neck? And he was like, no, he had a normal sized neck.
Standard neck, construction paper black, but standard.
And she said that there are 2 ghosts or spirits that people see around the church there. And he saw the rarer of the 2.
Ooh, like a Pokemon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And he said all of his coworkers were like, man, we wish you would have radioed us, you know, because we wanted to see it.
Wait here.
Yeah, right.
I need to call my friends. And then they're on the like, is it the long neck one or the other one?
And I remember he said that he said, I don't know why, but I looked at my watch and it was 2:15 in the morning. Mm-hmm. It's like, ooh, okay.
I am not going into a cemetery by myself at 2:15 in the morning.
Yeah. So there's this shadow figure of a colonial man with a ponytail. Mm-hmm. However, there's also a second apparition of somebody with red eyes and a long, stretched out neck, which they think means that it's somebody who was hanged.
Ooh.
And, like, you know, pulled their neck out.
Yuck.
Yeah. I couldn't find an interview, but one source talked about 2 people who had an experience with that. Mm-hmm. And they were security guards one night. Same thing. Saw a figure in the cemetery, went to check it out. When they got into the walls, nobody was there. And so they were like, did they break into the church? We have to go check. So they go to the church. The door's locked. They have a key. They open it. No sign of forced entry. And they're walking around. They don't hear anything until they start hearing this weird noise. It was described as like a whoosh thump. And they were like, what is that? And they turned on their flashlights. And the hymnals were floating and being thrown against the wall.
Okay, listen. I don't know what the pay rate is for Colonial Williamsburg security guard. Yeah. It could be quite handsome. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to go ahead and tell you now that I don't think it's enough.
I'd say the base pay is not great, but the hazard pay has to be great.
The 2:15 in the morning cemetery shift.
Night shift, you make bank.
You clean up. Throwing the hymnals against the wall. Yeah. What an odd thing to do.
Yeah. Weird way to spend the middle of the night.
And the afterlife.
Yep.
I guess I'll go throw these hymnals at the wall. You do you, I guess, you know?
Whatever makes you feel better.
Yeah. Yeah. Who am I? Who am I to judge?
Okay, so that's all I have on the Bruton Parish Church.
Think about how hard it would be at a place like Colonial Williamsburg to always be able to distinguish, like, wait, is that a ghost? Or
no, for real. Yeah. It happens.
Do we think there's some sort of like secret hand signal, you know, like something really modern, like, okay,
like every year you have to get a new hand signal so you can signify like I'm existing in this moment.
They learn a new piece of like really, you know, up-to-date slang that the kids are using, like, oh, that one's not a ghost, it said whatever the kids are saying these days.
That's a very interesting idea. I would love to see a full town implement that.
Yeah.
Like an anti-ghost system.
Right. Yeah, just like, yeah, it's a security system. It makes us all feel better. I don't know what I do if then I encounter one that doesn't give me like the peace sign just or
smile, nod,
say
and
Riz
walk away.
Or whatever. Like, if you work at Colonial Williamsburg and you know of the secret handshake or whatever it is, I'd love to hear about it.
Okay. So the next building I have is the Wren Building. Okay. This is the oldest academic building still in use in the USA. Ooh. Obviously on the campus of William and Mary. Mm-hmm. The original structure was constructed between 1695 and 1700, which, keep in mind, began before Williamsburg was established. Yeah. That was 1699. So this was back when it was still Middle Plantation. Now, it has been damaged and partially rebuilt / destroyed multiple times.
Of course.
Mostly by fire.
Yeah.
When it's gutted on the inside. But the exterior walls still exist. So it just gets new bones inside the body, you know?
Like in a steel hip.
Yeah. It has been damaged by the battles, both of Revolutionary War and Civil War, multiple fires, and notably once a tornado.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. The current building is considered the 5th version to stand on the site, but it's a close restoration to its original design. Because there were also, you know, like people adding on to it and annexing and stuff.
For sure.
Yeah. But for the most part, all of the buildings on the site have had the same walls. It's just so what the facade looks like and what the inside of the shell looks like. It was also used as a hospital during the Revolutionary and Civil Wars. Mm-hmm. So, sightings of soldiers wandering the halls and the sound of disembodied footsteps have been reported. The reports differ on uniforms, but because it was used as a hospital in both wars,
there's a mix.
Sense.
Yeah.
There are also reports of ghosts giving directions to lost students on campus.
That's amazing.
Which I thought was cute.
Like a ghost dressed up like a soldier?
I think because it's been used as part of the college since 1700, I think there's also ghosts.
It's like some regular plainclothes ghosts.
Yeah, like student or faculty ghost. Okay. I couldn't find a specific story, but there are people who think that Christopher Wren, the architect, haunts the building.
Oh.
So yeah, there's normal ghosts in there. It's not just soldiers.
Okay.
So the building, along with much of the campus, stands over a series of tunnels which are used today to run cables for the campus's phone and internet lines, but were created to be like steam offshoots for like heating systems and stuff. But students sneak in from the steam tunnels and, rumor has it, host secret meetings and rituals down in the tunnel system.
Rituals?
Ironically, there are at least 9 known secret societies at William and Mary.
Okay, you guys are doing a terrible job on the secret part.
But under the Wren Building Chapel is a crypt built in 1729. This is confirmed. It's not open to the public, but it is there. Several notable Virginians are buried there, including Bishop James Madison and Sir John Randolph and his son Peyton, who we will get into next.
Okay. With
the Peyton Randolph House, third on our tour. It was built by William Robertson in 1715 and purchased by Sir John Randolph in 1724. He was from a wealthy family. He was Virginia's Attorney General and the only Virginia colonist to be knighted. Yeah. During reconstruction of the eastern wing, there were at least 2 Native American burial sites and pottery discovered.
Interesting.
So, Peyton Randolph, though, the one it's named after.
Yes. The son.
Yes, the son. He was the first president of the Continental Congress.
Oh.
And eventually, Second Continental Congress.
The sequel.
When he inherited the home, he kept more than 20 slaves. Yeah.
Not great.
Nope. But during the Revolutionary War, his brother John stayed loyal to Britain and eventually moved there, leaving behind his son. So the family is very wealthy, of high esteem, but then it's a weird mix of like Peyton becomes this founding father and fighting for freedom and stuff, and yet he owns slaves. And then it's a black mark on the family that the brother has stayed a loyalist and then abandoned his family and gone back. So it's like a lot of weird drama for the Randolph family. But Peyton opened his home to soldiers to plan for the war and to treat wounded soldiers. Eventually, this is just a fun little, not fun at all, fact about his death. He suffered from a 5-hour-long stroke during dinner with Thomas Jefferson in Philadelphia and died in 1775.
5-hour stroke?
Yeah, thank God for modern medicine. Can you imagine?
Well, no.
I like to believe that was karma.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the estate goes to his wife, but without any children. It went to auction in 1782 upon her death. And then eventually, sometime around 1800, the Peachy family bought the property. After the father's death in 1810, one of the children fell from a tree and died on impact. And legend has it that several of their children met with their ends on the property, leading to rumors of a curse haunting the Peachy family. A young woman fell from a second-story window and died. An estimated 30 people are believed to have died on the property.
Good Lord. 30 people at that point back then, or 30 people now?
Between then and now.
Okay.
Yeah. Employees have seen the ghost of Mary Monroe, the mother of the Peachy children. As years go by, her ghost appears to get more agitated, which is just sad.
Yeah.
And also concerning.
Yeah.
And then, very interestingly, would you like to take a guess as to who was the first person to report haunted activity in the Peyton Randolph house?
Like a person's name?
Yep.
Oh.
I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
He is a character in Hamilton.
He's a character in Hamilton. All right, we've narrowed it down.
I felt wrong calling him a character, but you know what I meant.
Okay, character in Hamilton. Well, you said the one guy was at dinner with Thomas Jefferson. So was it Thomas Jefferson?
Nope. Close, though. In 1824, Marquis de Lafayette stayed in the Peyton Randolph house during a visit to the U.S., and he wrote that once he entered the home, almost immediately, an invisible hand pushed his shoulder like it was trying to keep him out. And he then continued that he was kept up at night by the sound of voices in the halls.
Nope. You gotta get out of there, man.
I don't know how long he stayed, but I'm
I
assuming
assume
it wasn't
not
long.
long.
Finally, on our little virtual tour of Colonial Williamsburg, we have the George Wythe House. Built in 1775 by Richard Taliaferro, gifted to his daughter Elizabeth when she married George Wythe. A prominent historical figure, he was the first Virginian to sign the Declaration of Independence and the first professor of law at William and Mary, and also a mentor to Thomas Jefferson. We've got 2 ghost stories here, okay?
Okay.
The final one is George Wythe himself.
Okay.
But first we're going to talk about Lady Anne Skipworth. Okay. So she often visited the Wythes with her husband to attend parties at the governor's palace in Williamsburg. And gossip at the time told how unhappy she was in her marriage, with rumors today being that he was being unfaithful. So during one such party, she fought with her husband and left alone in tears, running all the way back to the Wythe house, which was only like a street or 2 away.
Still, those old-timey shoes.
Yeah, well, exactly. She lost one of her shoes on the run. Her fancy red shoes.
Ooh.
Yeah. And the housekeeping staff heard her arrive to the house and run up to her guest room, recognizable by the sound of running with only one heel on.
I would not be able to recognize that sound. I don't think.
No?
I don't
You got
think...
like one foot thudding, like a barefoot foot thudding on the steps, and the other one like a click of a heel.
I still don't think it would occur to me.
Well, it's also like the commotion of somebody like bursting into the house crying when they're all supposed to be at a party. So
it's also a lot less going on back then, you know.
And also, you're a live-in housekeeper. Life's probably boring. You got to listen to all the drama.
Well, yeah, and I've memorized everybody's footsteps. Oh yeah, okay. Maybe I could.
Mm-hmm. So, legend has it that on the very next day, she died.
Ooh.
Either by murder or suicide. Not clear. Most people lean towards suicide, but that's not something that like people would have talked about back then.
Yeah.
So
true.
Today, people can still hear the sound of her cries and her distinct footsteps running up the stairs. The closet door in her guest room will swing open on its own, and people have smelled her lavender perfume.
Ooh.
Some have seen an apparition of a woman in a satin dressing gown and red shoes running by or combing her hair.
Plural shoes?
Yeah, I wondered the same thing, but yes.
Huh.
Maybe like before the party when she was getting dressed.
True, okay.
I don't know. But I noticed the same thing.
Yeah.
It said shoes. Yeah. A custodian once saw a woman in a colonial evening ball gown who he thought was a reenactor. She was so lifelike. He approached her only to have her disappear in front of his eyes.
Mm-hmm. Didn't even have time to ask for the hand signal.
Because it's especially hard because you've got people in costume.
Yes.
Yeah.
It would be just an absolute, I don't want to say nightmare, but like that would be a hard part of the job.
Keeps you on your toes. Yeah.
It does.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Elizabeth and George Wythe didn't have children of their own, but often opened their home to others. Like I said, including Thomas Jefferson, who was orphaned at 16. If you didn't know.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, and also with him being a professor at the college, you know.
Yeah, students.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in 1806, George's great-nephew, George Wythe Sweeney, came to stay with them when he needed help. Unfortunately, he was addicted to gambling and racked up debts, resorting to forging his great-uncle's name on checks to pay them back. He also stole books from his personal library to sell at auction,
Ugh.
which, keep in mind how much more expensive
Oh
books
my
were
God.
back then.
Yeah.
Despite this, he was named as George's heir in his will, which Sweeney was aware of, and decided that he didn't want to wait to earn that naturally.
I was afraid of that.
Yeah. So he came up with a plan, and he put poison in the oatmeal prepared for breakfast for George and his guest, Michael Brown, a former slave.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Michael died almost immediately, but George remained seriously ill for 2 weeks.
So he really got those dosages off.
Yeah. Maybe Michael got served first and ate really quickly. I don't know. Maybe ate more. But, I mean, 2 weeks laying there dying.
Ugh.
I don't know which is worse.
I gotta go 2 weeks.
Yeah. So the cook, Lydia Broadmax, saw Sweeney tamper with the food, and she was public with that knowledge. So George did have time to change his will before he died, leaving Sweeney with nothing.
That's amazing.
He was arrested for
Left
the
it all to
murders.
the cook.
No, I don't know who he left it to.
She should at least get
Yeah.
something. I'm gonna pretend she did.
Unfortunately.
Oh no.
So Sweeney was arrested for the murders, but at the time, the law forbade black people from testifying in the criminal trial of a white person. As Lydia Broadmax was black, Sweeney was acquitted and found not guilty. But everybody believed her anyway.
Yeah.
So the crime followed him for the rest of his life, and he lived in disgrace.
As it should. It should have counted in court.
Yep. So George's vengeful ghost can be seen on the anniversary of his death, June 8th.
It was right around the corner.
Yeah, we're getting there. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's grumpy, in a bad mood, and guests who have slept, because for a brief time it was a bed and breakfast. Guests who stayed in his bedroom reported feeling a cold hand against their foreheads.
No, George.
Which sounds creepy and I would not want to experience. But also, knowing that he spent 2 weeks ill before dying, presumably in his bed, It makes me wonder if he's like checking on you.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. I feel like his heart's in the right place.
Yeah. Well,
but...
and especially it feels less creepy because the last thing I have to say is that the rest of the year, when it's not his death anniversary, George's ghost is calm and happy, visiting his former home and interacting with guests by tapping them on the shoulder to get a reaction.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
That's like the one from the little boy at the Chelsea who like kicks people in their shin and runs away. He's just...
But like chiller.
Yeah. Like, hey. It's like where, you tap the person's on their shoulder and then you dart to the other side. Like, classic. Maybe he invented that.
It makes the touching the forehead feel less creepy.
Yeah. Yeah. But like, George, I need you to understand, put yourself in our shoes.
Laying in bed. Yeah.
Yeah. Laying in bed alone or, just the other person sleeping next to you, whatever. And a cold hand touches your forehead. Ooh.
No.
That's...
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, but no.
No. I appreciate the thought. I am okay.
I'm not dying. Hopefully.
Yeah. And I have a thermometer if I need to check my temperature.
Yeah. So that's all I have on this little bite-sized tour of Colonial Williamsburg.
Very interesting. I feel like I'm kind of glad now that I've not been to Colonial Williamsburg yet, because now if I go, I'm going to have like these extra tidbits of information. I'm going to be like, I need to go find the spot by the church and the alley with the tree. Like I'm going to need to visit all these places we've talked about.
I was going to say go into the church and look for the hymnals, but the church is basically the only property that's still privately owned because it's an active church.
Yeah. I'm not looking to encounter any of these individuals, so I'm good not seeing hymnals thrown against the
You don't want George to come and tap you on the shoulder?
An excellent question. I think ultimately I'm going to have to say no. Or I guess I could just plan my visit to not be on June 8th.
No, the tapping on the shoulder is year round.
No,
that's what I'm
saying.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Well, and that's only if you slept in his room.
Yeah, okay. So
you're good.
I was thinking like tap on the shoulder, like if you give a mouse a cookie, like if he taps you on the shoulder, then he's going to want to feel your forehead in the middle of the night. But that's just on June 8th. So I could do it.
You got to sneak down into the steam tunnels and find the crypt.
Participate in the secret society ritual. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
I smell a sequel for that book. Yeah, I mean, okay. A shoulder tap. I'll allow it.
Or a ghost that you don't know is a ghost because it just looks like another actor.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
But I feel like I would want to know.
Yeah, no, I'd be questioning everybody that I talk to.
Like, let me just take your picture real quick. Like, I'm just wearing like a GoPro or something. Like, have you seen this individual?
The only reason I would ever invest in meta glasses to film for ghosts.
That is the number one reason they sell. Ghost filming purposes.
I don't know if there's like a special filter you could get, like a UV filter or something.
I mean, I'm sure that it's in the works.
Yeah. We got to go on, now that it's getting warm. It's finally warm again.
Yes.
We got to go on some ghost tours.
Yeah.
And we still have to go on the Old Louisville tour. Make a little day trip out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's easy.
Yeah. We gotta experience something so we can talk about it on the show.
What are we doing? We're not busy. Not at all.
Nah.
We have
the world is our oyster. Ya oyster. Ya fancy clam with the pearl in the middle.
Oh my god, you're ridiculous. And I love it.
A deep cut. I wonder if anybody's gonna get that joke.
I don't think I do.
It's in Newsies.
Oh yeah, no. I haven't seen it.
And I'm down to watch it literally whenever.
I do want to see it. I just never...
It's my favorite musical.
I know.
Literally whenever. Okay. Anyway. Anything else to say about the show?
About the show?
About Colonial Williamsburg?
I don't think so.
Well, thank you for listening, for tuning in. We appreciate it. We still don't have any submissions, so we're going to have to end it here.
Virginia, looking at you. Have you been to Colonial Williamsburg?
Did you see somebody who was a little too in character?
What size was their neck?
That's a horrible question.
I want them to know if they saw the rare one or the common one.
The common hanged man.
Yeah.
Yes, we would love to know. If you were a student at William and Mary,
Ooh, yeah.
please reach out to us.
Tell us about your secret society.
How horrible and drafty was your dorm?
Oh my God.
I have questions.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But yes, thank you for the listeners in Virginia. Thank you for the listeners everywhere else. Thank you if you are overseas. How did you find us? Please let me know. I'm curious.
Me too.
So if you have a story that you would like to submit, you can submit that on our website at www.egagspodcast.com or by emailing us at egagspodcast@gmail.com. If you just want to hang out or follow us for updates, we are on basically all the social medias now. The handle is at egagspodcast. That's EGAGS podcast. Once again, thank you very much. And as always, this is Everybody's Got a Ghost Story.
What's yours?